Yo, what's going on, guys? Henis here. Today we are going to be attempting the 2-box challenge here on the final Reich. This is the very first World War II Zombies map, and I haven't done a 2-box challenge in a while, so I figured I'd give it a shot. If you guys do enjoy, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and without further ado, let's hop right into it. So hopefully you guys are liking the new overlay as well, because it actually supports World War II Zombies, so you guys can actually see what round we're on, how much ammo we have left, so none of that stuff gets blocked. And hopefully it'll be an enjoyable experience for all of us. I haven't really even hit the box that much since I've played this map in the past with the couple streams that I've already done. So I'm hoping we'll be able to discover some pretty cool, unique weapons out of the box that we may have not even exposed ourselves to yet. Chris also comes in with a $5 and says, yes, thank you. I totally leave a like. No homo, but dude, wow, thank you. My life is accomplished. Chris, I appreciate your $5 donation, man. You guys have already been killing it with the donations. I don't know how many we already have, but it's definitely more than I deserve, I think. But honestly, guys, thank you. What's up, FaZe Monkey? How you doing today as well, man? Welcome to the stream. So for those of you guys who don't know how the 2-box challenge works, essentially, we're not allowed to buy any wall weapons at all until we get to the box, turn on the power, and get to the box. And once we hit the box, we can only hit it twice. If we get a jack in the box, then we're allowed to hit it a third time. And we can only use the 2 weapons that we get out of the box to try to get all the way to round 20, or wave 20, I guess is what I should say. That's sort of the goal. Yo, Pranav comes in, man. That hot donut. Oh, chill, don't hit me. Chill, chill, chill. What's up, David? What's up, Brendan?
Just a few questions and advice.
Ooh,
what do you do with your donations and YouTube money?
Yes.
Remember me? Use RK5 in sniper map. Use slow chat mode. Do you like Black Ops Zombies or World War II Zombies?
Ooh.
You are the best. A background and t-shirt match.
That's true, they do.
Buy a new chair.
I'm rocking that OPZ merch. Buy a new chair? Bruh, what? My chair is extremely comfortable. The one that they provide here in college is like literally a wooden chair. I had to buy this one. Spent a good solid 60 bucks on a chair. I just realized we're not even going to be able to use this insta-kill at all. We got to turn on the power, too. I've been slacking on that. Let's go ahead and try to activate that right here. What's good, Gavin? How you doing today, my man? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, dude, thank you very much, Pranav, for the $1.11. So to answer your question, all of my donation money at this point just goes right into my bank account. And then, holy Jesus, Jack Moz comes in with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, my dude. Can we get a Jack spam in the chat, guys? I would really appreciate it. It's a $10 dono. Can I give you $10,000?
Here's another one.
What are you guys doing to me, dude? I'm just out here trying to talk about playing zombies. You guys are dropping serious donos. Thank you very much for the support. Truly, guys. It really does mean a lot. But yeah, to answer your question, pretty much all the donations right now, guys, for those of you who don't know, I am a full-time college student. And if you know anything about going to college, especially in America, it is a little pricey. So pretty much all the donation money that I get goes directly to helping me pay off college. Is Pac still here? What's up, Jeremy? How you doing today, man? Yeah, Pac, you're a senior in high school right now, I believe. We're gonna run out of ammo with this here soon. What's up, LG Killer? What's up, Connor? I subbed? Yo, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. What's up, Caden? How you doing, man? What's up, Brad? Did we already turn this one off? We haven't yet. Let's go ahead and do that. What's up, Riley? But yo, and De Garcia comes in with a $2 super chat and says, here's another one. You guys are unreal. Thank you very much for the support, guys. It really does mean a lot. I'll donate 100 if you notice me. Mystery man. The only person in here that might be able to do that is Lieutenant. He dropped like 300 bucks yesterday. The dude's a freaking monster. How do you sponsor? There's a link right at the top of the description down below, guys, if you do want to sponsor the channel. Always optional, but very much appreciated. Once we hit 75 sponsors, you guys can see the live sponsor count in the sort of on the left-hand side of the screen. Once we hit 75 sponsors, I will be able to add a brand new emote for you guys in the channel. So all of you guys who are sponsors can take advantage of those cool emotes. And if you are a sponsor right now, or you want to become a sponsor, and you're curious about the emotes that are already available, I have them all listed in the description down below. Oh, how do you do that? How do I just do a quick swipe by? I want to know how to do that, so I don't have to do the whole dig-in part. To get like a quick melee on these guys? That's what I really want to do. Oh, hey, ho. Okay, all right. Not about to take L's out here, boys. Yep, nice. No, chill. Whoa. This guy goes hard. Okay, let me go ahead and pick this up. Get ourselves a full meter. I'll take it. Let's go ahead and, now that we've got this turned on, activate the pilot light. Yo, Jack Mods comes in with a $2 super chat. I appreciate that, Jack Mods. Thank you very much, my man. You are an absolute legend. Shoot. I just realized. Hold on.
Well, I'm trying. seriously. I'm actually crying, my god. Thank you.
No, I can't let these guys hit me too much.
Because I gotta save for my PC. You.
Yeah, honestly, man, no worries, Chris, but thank you very much, dude, for another $10 donation. He's out here like, I gotta save my money, guys. This is nuts. Actually nuts. I think we might actually be able to open up the bunker door and get all the way down there and hit the box. I'm really trying to get rid of these zombies, though. I just really want to get rid of these sprinters, man. That's all we got to get rid of. All right, nice. Just killed you. I really should be running back here, to be honest with you. As long as they're not hitting me, which doesn't look like they are. Don't hit me. Ow, ow, ow. Keep on running. What's up, Aiden Pierce? How you doing today, buddy? We have over 700 viewers right now. You guys are dope. Someone asked, how do I donate? There's a link in the description down below if you guys do want to donate. Always optional, but very much appreciated. I think that's the last one on that guy. Beautiful. But yo, Chris, I'm definitely going to go 100% be able to play with viewers very soon, man. Definitely. So that's really great to hear that you're looking forward to that, man, because I am too, 100%. What's up, Jack? How you doing today, buddy? Wait a minute. You know what I just realized? To get all the way to power, we have to open up this bunker door. Oh, no, we should be able to get to the box. Actually, really easy. Yeah, here we go. What's up, BM? Yo, flips for days. Yes, I do remember you, man. Welcome back to the stream, and thank you very much for the $2. It means a lot, dude. You're an absolute legend. Jack Maz comes in with another 10, dude. You're actually a freaking legend, dude. Thank you very much for the support. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first 2 box hits right here. We're hoping to get something good. Can we get some hype in the chat? Oh, no, man. You're kidding me. No, honestly, LT, no worries, dude. LT comes in with a 420 and says, I can't do 100, I'm running out of money, rip, lol. Nah, dude, you're fine. You donated so much money yesterday. You're supporting the stream like crazy. Thank you for the 420, brother. It really does mean a lot. Can we get an LT spam in the chat, guys? I would appreciate it. Let's also get a hype spam right now. Not only for all the donations, but we're about to go ahead and hit the box. And we need some good weapon hype, because right now all that we got is just this, the bazooka. Which actually, wow, is pretty powerful. Not gonna lie. There's a max ammo. I guess I could take that and put that on my pistol, because I'm pretty sure I do have mule kick. But let's get some hype in the chat. Let's also get some LT spams as well. And let's hit the box right here, see what we're gonna get. It's our second hit. I'm really hoping if we get a wall weapon, that would be phenomenal. Come on, give me something good. At least like an SMG, a good points weapon, at the very least. What is this? The bar. Oh, the bar is an excellent multiplayer weapon. All right. All right, that's not actually too bad. All right, we're on wave 4. Go ahead and mute the music here. What's up, Phase Monkey? So we still have our pistol. We have the rocket launcher, whatever, the bazooka. What is this thing called? The Fliegerfaust. I'm definitely butchering that name. 100% butchering that. But we're not allowed to hit the box anymore at all. Those are our 2 box hits, and then we got to try and at least get to round 20 using only these 2 weapons. So we're going to have to definitely go ahead and activate Pack-a-Punch. We're going to have to work on that. Oh, and of course, we're on a max ammo round now, dude. Come on. This would have been so much nicer to have earlier. What's up, MM? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. All right, I'm actually going to train around with my pistol for right now. And I'm going to try to take all these guys out with the bazooka. What's up, Bryson? Are you out of power? What do you mean? What's up, Mason? How you doing today, buddy? I'm pretty sure we should go buy some purses. We already have... Oh, yeah, that's right. We already have the shield. All right, cool, cool, cool. Let me pull this out. Shoot. Oh, God. That actually hurt me. Reload. Damn. Jesus, that thing's powerful. What's up, Brandon? How you doing today, buddy? All right, let's hop back down here. We're going to go ahead and buy this perk. What is it? Because this is the increased sprint and stamina. Do these perks actually have names? You bought Laufenblitz. Laufenblitz is the name. Okay, interesting. But now we got that. We have self-revive. I know that for sure. Automatic bazooka. Yeah, once we pack a punch and get the automatic bazooka, that's going to be so nice. But we should... What I'm going to do after the end of this round, once we get a few more points, I'm going to go ahead and try to activate the... activate Pack-a-Punch so we can go ahead and get both of these guns Pack-a-Punch. Because the really nice thing... yo, Pranav, what's up, my man? Comes in with another donor, you're crazy. Oh, sorry, brother, yeah.
And a slow when you upload stream, keep the raid part. Use slow chat mode. I watch your streams in my free time. You didn't get me a spam.
That's great to hear, man. Yo, I'm glad that you enjoy watching the streams in your free time. So to answer your questions, Hennis, you have said what's up to me 4 times. I'm sorry, Face Monkey. I know. I just like saying hello to people, and I know that you're a mod, so I just want to give you the recognition. What's up, Sebastian? How you doing today, dude? But yeah, Pranav, to answer your question, so Black Ops 3 Zombies or World War II Zombies, definitely Black Ops 3. It's not even a competition. Black Ops 3 Zombies has a really special place, or just Treyarch Zombies in general has a really special place in my heart, but I'm really starting to fall in love with this game. Like, not even gonna lie to you. This game is really special, and I think it has a lot of potential. Go ahead and kill that guy. So I think that's the last zombie right there. Let's try to go ahead and activate Pack-a-Punch if we can do that. Thank you very much to all of the guys who are subscribing right now as well. Definitely means a lot. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, or if you haven't dropped a like, make sure you do that as well. Oh, we're going to need to go through. So that costs 1,500. And I think this costs 1,500 too. We're going to need more points to go ahead and activate. Yeah.
Round 20 hype, by the way. I can't stop crying. I'm 17 OMG lol.
You're 17 OMG lol. Yeah, so Pranav, definitely World War II Zombies. When I upload a stream, keep the raid. I don't like to keep that part, man, just because when I upload a stream, I usually like to keep it narrowed down to just the one really interesting map that I played for that stream. So that's really why I do that. I don't like to leave in the raids because I feel like that stuff's too long. I may make like a compilation of raids maybe at some point. I feel like that might be kind of fun. But as of right now, I'm not gonna do that. And I don't like putting my stream in slow mode just because I don't think I need to. I think my chat, for the most part, isn't too bad. Are we already out of ammo with that? Oh, we're already out of ammo with the bar. That's really not good. Okay, we're gonna need to figure out a solution to that then. I don't really know what we're gonna do. Because we can't, I don't think the bar is a wall buy, like anywhere. How do you sponsor? There's a link at the top of the description down below, guys, if you do want to sponsor the channel. Alright. But yeah, so I think I answered all your questions, though, Pranav. Thank you very much for the $1.11, dude. I'm sorry you had to donate twice to get me to answer your question. That shouldn't be how it works, for sure. It is a wall buy? Oh, it is a wall buy. Alright, interesting. Where doth one find it? We still have the bazooka, which is... The bar is a wall buy. Okay, nice. Does anybody know where it is? Because I don't know where it is. That's the SVT. I'm just going to try to go to some wall buy locations that I know do exist. Had to run around here for a little bit. But yo, Pranav, appreciate it, man. Then Chris comes in with a $5 super chat. Says, hashtag round 20 hype. By the way, I can't stop crying. Yo, dude, don't cry, man. Because then if you start crying, man, and I'm going to start crying, it could be a bad time, dude. Be bad. What's up, Longheads? But thank you, Chris, for the $5. I do appreciate it. And that's locked. Can't get into the sewers just yet. We actually should go ahead and just activate the power to get open to the salt mine, because then we got to get down there to Pack-a-Punch. So let me actually go do that right now. What's up, Baker? What's up, Hudson? And what's up, Cheese? You kind of ugly? Yo, thanks, CJ. Dude, I was actually talking earlier. Like, I need a haircut. Bad. My hair is, like, all sorts of messed up right now. Gotta clean myself up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I'm like a greasy little dude. How do you donate? There's a link in the description, man. I tried to sponsor, but it said invalid street. You shouldn't need to enter in your street information, man. Ooh. Oh, that's not the right weapon we want. I might be looking for any wall buy. Ooh. Oh, that's that path. Okay, I'm still trying to get in. I'm still, in a way, learning this map a little bit. But let's go ahead and activate this. That's one. What's up, the real gamer? How you doing today, man? And then Flips for Days comes in with a $1 donation as well. I appreciate it, Flips. Thank you very much. You guys are literally insane. Hennis equals king. Appreciate it. If you guys haven't dropped a like in the stream yet, make sure you do that. We're almost at 500 likes already. I appreciate the kind words and the support. You guys are freaking legends. That's the STG. Alright, so now we can go.
MAO, by the way, let me know for Discord TMRW.
Yo, it's good to know that it's happy tears. Alright, as long as it's not sad tears, for sure, for sure. Oh, to buy ammo. Here we go. That's the bar. Alright, perfect. We don't have enough jolts? Wait, how much does it cost? How much does it cost? Alright, 750? Oh, we've got 710. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Okay, now we have enough. Wow. That's actually annoying, dude. What's up, Loyal, and what's up, Isaac? Welcome to the stream, guys. Alright, buy more ammo for this. Here we go, guys. So now at least we know where to go to buy more ammo for the bar. So thank God for that. What's up, Salem? What's up, Aiden? But we definitely still need to go ahead and activate Pack-a-Punch. I'm going to try to do that right now, actually. See if we can get enough points. I think we'll have enough to activate Pack-a-Punch at the end of this round. Those sprinters are so freaking insane. Oh, what's up, Maddie Mintz? Welcome, my man. But yeah, you guys can see I do have a live like count in the, what is it, on sort of the left-hand side of the screen. So as soon as you guys drop a like, you should be able to see the live like count go up by 1, which is really cool. And it's a great way for you guys to see that your interactivity is actually helping out the stream. So I really appreciate it. Somebody said do the Easter egg. Oh, I might, yeah, once we complete the 2-box challenge, dude, I might actually go ahead and do the Easter egg. That might be kind of fun, for sure. Especially considering I don't know what else I'd do. I like that it gives you the progress of how much longer these kills going to last for. What's up, Certus? How you doing today, man? All right, but let's go try to activate Pack-a-Punch right now. It's going to take a little bit. I'm not sure yet how I feel about how long it takes to activate Pack-a-Punch in this game. Seems vid. What's up, Cindy? And what's good, Evan? Welcome to the stream, guys. Open up this. All right, sick. Where's the blood ring? It's this way, right? Yeah.
I've not been feeling great this last month.
Where's this
but your
button?
Streams
Here we
make
go.
me happier every time I watch them.
Yo! Oh! Thank you very much, Boobs. I appreciate the kind words, and I freaking love your username. Can we get a... Ooh, gotta go this way. Can we get a boob spam in the chat, guys? Thank you. Why is the like button black? What do you mean, why is it black? Shouldn't be black. Should be green. No, it should be blue. When you click the like button, it should become blue. That's right, that's right. Hennis, please shout me out. It would mean everything to me. Black Scorpion, shout out to you, man. All right, we definitely have enough points to go ahead and go through all of these tubes, which you should be able to do. Press that. Do we have to go up through there? Nah, it's gonna take me a second to remember actually where all of these locations are. Because I always usually tend to forget. Thank you for the boobs, spam though, guys. Who doesn't love boobs? Okay, like one of the other members of Karn is gonna be watching this, being like, "What is this dude talking about?" If you read this out, sponsor, yo, Jose, I saw you type that earlier, man. I don't know if you'll actually do it, but I'll be looking forward to it if you do. These sprinters, man, are so freaking nasty. I actually hate them. Alright, activate that. I didn't miss any donations, did I? No, but yeah, so Boobs, I guess I appreciate your kind words, man. I wanted to go ahead and acknowledge that.
I think he has a crap phone. That's why the like button is black. Tears of joy, 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 tears of joy.
Can I just get a regular, like, walker, dude?
Bollocks!
Don't tell me that's the end of the round. Are you guys good? Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, good. Just... Yeah, I want to get rid of these, the fly ones. No, we ended the round. I'm a potato, dude. We got to go all the way up through here. Wait a minute. Are we even going to have enough points to get to that next spot? I don't even think we will. We might. Hennis, please notice me, bro. What's up, Matt? Welcome, buddy. What's up, Chris Plays? What's up, Toxic Shock? We may actually have to take another round. Open this up. Yeah, we've only got 500. Unless, yeah, because this door is going to cost something, right? Shoot! I was not ready for that. It costs 1,500 jolts. We can make it happen, though, dudes. Literally, once we get enough points, we're going to go ahead and just hop right down. We should be able to get it pretty easily. Yeah, that might be why he sees a black like button, though, Chris. I don't know. I've never seen the like button, though, expressed as black. Like, anywhere. It's strange. All right, that's 1,500. We'll hopefully be able to get it here in a second. Ooh, I don't need to pick that up. All right, we got enough points. I kind of want to just keep chilling here, though, because we can hopefully breeze through a lot of these rounds right now. Actually, I'm probably going to want to buy a...
Bloody hell!
Going to want to buy the perk that's right here as well. Yo, Jose just became a... Oh, Jesus. I was not expecting that guy to be there. But yo, Jose, I appreciate your sponsorship a lot, man. I actually didn't think you were going to do that. Can we get some sponsor hype for Jose in the chat? I would appreciate it, guys. And thank you very much, Jose, for the love and support, man. It means a lot. You're waiting for World War II to download? Yo, Nate Ronson, you're going to love it, man. It's a really fun game. I'm really enjoying it a lot. I haven't even really played on the second map a lot, the map that you unlock after the Easter egg. But I'm definitely going to do that soon, hopefully. All right, it costs $4 grand to pack-a-punch that. But we're definitely going to pack-a-punch... We can pack-a-punch the pistol. Yeah, we're going to pack-a-punch all three of these weapons once we get enough points. And that'll cost 1,500. But that'll definitely be something we'll do. I got to get back to buy more ammo for the bar, which sucks. Rank 9. Here we go. Leveling up. What's up, Camden? Welcome. Thank you very much, Jose, for that sponsor, dude. I think that... What sponsored number does that make you? You're my 68th sponsor, I believe. It's great, man. Thank you very much for the love. I do appreciate it. What's up, Sprinteth? I don't think I missed another donut. All right, perfect. Got to go back through here. Now, I got to remember... I love that it highlights on the wall where the wall buy is. For the weapon that you're using. What's up, Wolf? How you doing today, Chemical? ProBot 2.0, almost 700 likes. You guys are freaking insane. Thank you very much for the support. I do appreciate it. I'm actually going to head back down to the Pack-a-Punch room. And we're actually just going to train in there.
The like button is black for me, too.
Really? Hydro Cannon Minecraft donates $2 through Super Chat and says, the like button is black for me, too. Interesting. I don't know why it would be black for you guys. That doesn't make any sense. Hey, I mean, I would, like, just from a marketing perspective, I would imagine the better for them to choose, like, a brighter color, you know? But hey, whatever YouTube wants to do, dude. What's up, Jenna? How you doing today? Pulse, welcome to the stream. So it's going to cost 5,000 to pack a punch this. I think I might have said 4,000 earlier. But we just got to train around here enough. Hopefully be able to get ourselves this weapon pack a punch. Because this weapon, I feel like this thing pack a punch is going to be a freaking monster. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably just pack a punch it as soon as we run out of ammo. Hopefully we have enough. Yeah, we'll have enough points by then for sure. These zombies move so freaking weird, man. Is this the last guy? There's no way you're the last one. Wow, we're actually 40 points away. You can't make that up. Is there any, like, barriers we can rebuild? Do we even get points for rebuilding barriers in this game? I don't think you do. If it's black, it's not liked. You should most likely definitely leave a like. Yeah. If it's black, that means you haven't left a like yet. Okay. So Hydro Cannon Minecraft, you just got called out, dude. Both of you guys. Oh, we're about to get a max ammo drop right here. Alright. It's pretty nice. I can dig it. What is this wall buy right here? MP40? That would be an amazing wall buy to have while we're down here. That would be insane. Hennis, can you sub to me, please? Yo, Chris, I do appreciate your super chat, man. Thank you very much for the love. Can we get a Chris spam in the chat? Actually, I might need a pack. Yeah, I need a pack punch now. Let's just go ahead and do that. Because I actually don't have enough ammo left in it. What's up, Javery? How you doing today, man? I'll just continue using this pistol for right now. So I keep him at bay. Does the weapon go away if you leave it in pack-a-punch for too long? I don't think it does. Ooh, yep. I love the pack-a-punch camo, too, in this game. I think it looks so clean. What's up, Simon? How you doing today, dude? Alright, then there's our max ammo. We've only got 1,300 points left here, though. So we're going to need at least 10 grand to pack-a-punch both of these. You can buy more ammo always for 4,000. What's up, Vincent? Thank you very much for the sub. What's up, Curtis? Do I recommend World War II, and is there a delay in the stream or no? I think every stream is always going to have some sort of a delay. I think mine's like probably like 15 or 20 seconds from real time. So, I don't know exactly how much that means to you guys, but that's approximately, I think, how much time is between when I'm actually doing what I'm doing and when you guys actually see it, you know? Alright, let's keep training around. We got 2,000 right now. If we can get... I don't think we're at a high enough round yet where the zombie's going to be hard enough to kill. Get all the way to 10,000 jolts by the end of this round, but we'll see.
Bro, PLZ, answer me question. Can you subscribe to me?
Yeah, Chris, 100%, dude. I can subscribe to you. Actually, Chris, what you should do, because I'll probably forget, is hey, what's up, man? Or what's up? He said, "What's up, pimp?" What's up, dude? Thank you very much. Hold on, yeah. Oh, wait, yo. Ow, 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 ow.
I've seen and I literally love it.
Hold on. Yo, thank you very much for those 3 donos, guys. I'm going to acknowledge those in just a second. I just really don't want to go down right here. Okay, I think we're good. The shield built back up. I kind of like how the shield system works in this game. I don't know. The whole jug system just seems to make sense. The real Raptor, what's up, man? But yeah, Chris, thank you very much for the $2. And yes, dude, I will 100% follow people back. Oh, that must have been the guy that got me. Okay. But yeah, dude, the real way I follow people back or I subscribe to people's YouTube channels is if you go ahead and buy the YouTube subscription thing from the loyalty shop. If you do that, then I'll automatically like have your YouTube link right there, and I can just grab it and subscribe right to your YouTube channel. So if you haven't purchased that from the loyalty shop yet, make sure you do that. And then Jimmy Bloody comes in. Jimmy Bloody. Oh, we got. Oh, it's Mustang and Sally. I like it. I like it. What's up, Tech? How you doing today, man? Oh, and it's not explosive though either. Interesting. Oh, no, it is. Okay. Never mind. I take it all back. What's up, Mimi? But Jimmy Bloody, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. And what's up? What's up, man? Thank you very much for the support.
I'm back. Finally, a WW2
And then Chris comes in.
Doing good work.
That guy not gonna die? What the hell? What's up, Wild Part?
It'll remind you at
Love
the
your
end
name.
of the stream with a donation.
All right, yo, Chris, I would appreciate that, man. Yeah, and I guess... But yeah, what I would prefer, dude, is that you go ahead and buy the subscription thing just because then I can see it right there. That'd probably make it easiest for me. What's up, Joshua? How you doing today, man? I really want to get in. I should probably stop using those pistols if I want to get enough points to pack-a-punch the bazooka, whatever the rocket launcher thing is. Oh, come on, man. Oh, I wonder how these work up against this guy. Okay, wow. Yeah, he wasn't happy about that. This guy's still pretty butthurt, too. These donations are coming in way too fast, dude. I can't even acknowledge anything. Hold on. Wow, he takes hits, man. There we go. Got him. All right, on to wave 12. Let's get it. Hydro Cannon. I love you watching your YouTube videos. This is the 4th F stream. Literally love it. Thank you, Hydro. It means a lot, man. Hydro Minecraft. Huge shout out to you. That's a $10 donation. Then Tech Gaming comes in with a £5. Says, I'm back. Finally, World War II live stream. Keep doing the good work. Thank you, Tech. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. I really like this game. Like, don't get me wrong. It takes a little bit of getting used to. But once you kind of learn your way around the map, it becomes a lot more fun. I'm going to get out of this area, actually, because I'm going to start boring myself. I can't with these donations. And then Chris comes in and says, I'll remind you at the end of the stream. All right, Chris. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Then Jimmy Bloody comes in. You're welcome. Bro, God bless. Thank you for the $2. Jack comes in with a $2 super chat and says nothing. Thank you very much, Jack, for the $2. No message. Appreciate it, though, Jack. Thank you very much, man. And then Chris comes in with a $2. Says, don't have enough points. All right, Chris. Yeah. But that's, to be honest with you, bro, though, that's really the only way I actually subscribe to people. I know you've obviously donated, like, a hell of a lot to the stream. But I kind of like to keep that sort of thing, when it comes to subscribing to somebody's channel, I kind of like to keep it merit-based. So as in, you know, the more you've watched my channel, then I'll go ahead and actually subscribe to you. So, and I think I prefer to keep it like that. Obviously, the amount that you donated is, like, crazy. And I really appreciate that, but I don't want it to turn into a pay to get a subscriber type thing. You know what I'm saying? I kind of prefer it to stay the way it is. So, once you get up enough points, man, I will 100% subscribe to you, though. Definitely. But hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. But what's good, Wolf? Welcome to the stream. What's up, T-Dog? How you doing today, buddy? We gotta go ahead and buy some more perks down. I don't have, like, any cool perks right now. Let's see what we're missing here. Oh, okay, we're out of ammo on that thing. Let me try to use my rocket launcher here. Wow, that's a hit. Did I kill him? Nope. 3 hits with him? 4 hits. 5 hits. Okay, 4 or 5 hits. What's up, yo, ET Outbreak? Can you upload this video? Yes, Toxic. This will be uploaded as a video, man. 100%. Let me go back and buy ammo for the bar here. It's going to be down here, right? It'll highlight it on screen for me, hopefully. It's down this way. What's good? Isolated? Here it is. And Jonathan, what's up? But Jimmy Bloody, and then Chris comes in. I don't have enough points. Yeah, so that was the last donation. All right, so I'm finally all caught up with donations. Holy crap. At least I think I am. I'm sorry if I'm not. I got to go buy Speed Cola. And I believe that is... Wow, come on, dude. I was not hoping for that. Wow, that actually sucks.
You should put the top donation above the sponsors.
I should put the top donation above the sponsors? Maybe that's something I could do, bro. The top donation of the night above the sponsors. That's the reload. We'll take that.
Bloody hell!
Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, here comes the flamethrower guy, man. Oh, he's a-coming. Wow, that actually did damage to me? The flamethrower guy's still running, man. Holy crap. Yeah, we need to get out of here. I'm gonna lose part of my shield. I'm not trying to lose that. What's up, Cameron? How you doing today, buddy? Getting a little bit intense out here. I'm actually going to try to leave a zombie at the end of this round. I know we're not allowed to hit the box to get any more weapons, but I want to hit the box to try to get a Jack-in-the-Box.
Do you ever stream Fortnite?
Yes, I have streamed Fortnite in the past, man. I definitely want to stream it more because it's a game that does so well on YouTube, and I really, really enjoy it. So 100%, like in the next upcoming weeks when we've been playing so much World War II Zombies that we kind of want to break, I will definitely be playing some of that, man. 100%. I just realized I just pinned myself, didn't I? Ow. Just run away, run away. Try to leave a zombie at the end of this round. God damn, this is getting crazy. What's up, little lion? How you doing today, man? Oh, he's right there. Keep on running. Oh, did we just kill him? I think we did. Exploded him. Wait, is he still alive? I thought I just heard the flames. Oh, Jesus. Alright, I'm sorry I'm not really paying attention to the chat right now. I just really gotta focus up. Alright, but I gotta leave the zombie here. Okay, did I miss anything? Oh, Hydro Cannon came in with a $2. Says, yeah, you should put the top. Oh, yeah, that's right. I did read that out loud. Yeah, 100%, man. That might actually be a cool thing I could do because I know a lot of streamers do actually do that, and I know it really creates obviously an incentive for people to donate to the stream, which would definitely be cool. What's up, Wolf? Yo, LG Kilo 101. Thank you very much, man, for the sponsor. I appreciate it, homie. Hopefully you enjoy all the custom emotes. You are now officially a menace to society. And what's up, Lucas? We broke the coin bot. Did you actually? Is the coin bot not working anymore? It should be, hopefully. We go pack a punch this and buy more ammo. What's up, G-Man? There's no Juggernog? Yeah, we gotta buy, we gotta get more ammo for this. Oh, we haven't even opened up the salt mine door yet. What are we doing? Gonna buy more ammo for this, and then we're also gonna go ahead and pack a punch the rocket launcher. What's up, Game Geeks? How you doing today, buddy? So, yeah, I answered Jimmy Bloody's donation, and I answered both Hydro Cannons. Okay, and then LG Killer came with a sponsor. Appreciate that. I'm running the wrong direction. Blood Room is right here. I just want to have all... No, we don't have 5,000. We had to buy ammo. That sucks. All right, but let's go grab increased weapon damage, because I definitely want to have that, because I don't think I've actually purchased that yet. I should be up this way. So, we have Speed Cola, Quick Revive. I think we have Jug. And then... Do we have the increased weapon damage one, actually? I'm not sure. Well, I think we do. Oh, wave 15. Here we go. This will give us max ammo. This will be nice. Go ahead and buy this. Increase weapon damage. Oh, ow, 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 ow. I'm gonna lose a shield. Okay, hold on. Don't hit me, don't hit me. Thank you. We didn't lose a shield. Thank God. What's up, T-Dog?
Couple streams. I've been busy. I'm moving to Florida from Ohio.
Oh, that's dope.
An hour drive to it.
Yeah. I imagine that's got to be definitely a bit of a struggle. But you said you're moving from Florida to Ohio. Wow. You're going to move into... I hear the footsteps. What am I hearing? Maybe those are just the flags or the trees or something? Who's my favorite YouTuber? And don't say yourself. I don't... The person who I'm really into watching right now, to be honest with you, is... I really, really like watching MKBHD. I don't know if you guys know him, but he does a lot of tech reviews. He's a pretty cool guy. But Jimmy comes in with a $5. Says, missed the last couple of streams. I've been busy. I'm moving from Florida to Ohio, an 18-hour drive. Yeah. That cannot be fun. At least you're staying in the same time zone, though, so that's nice. It's not like you get a... It's not like you get to screw up your sleep schedule or anything, you know what I'm saying? So at least that's not too bad. I meant to leave the zombie at the end of the last round so we can go ahead and try to get Jack in the Box, but we're definitely going to do that. So we're 4 rounds away, guys, from completing the 2 box challenge, which is actually pretty cool. I'm going to try to do that as quickly as I can here. And then we'll probably just end up trying to go for high rounds at the end of the day, to be honest. What's up, T150? If you guys haven't dropped a like in the stream yet, please make sure you do that. I would really appreciate it. It helps me out a ton. Helps grow the stream. Gonna shoot his tank. Get that to explode. We got there an insta-kill. I'll take that. I really like that you can run, like, pretty much straight through zombies in this game. Does anybody else, like, really like that? I don't know. Oh, shoot. Nope, 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 nope. If I get hit again, I'm going down. Perfect, he's dead. Try to be leaving a zombie. Oh, that's right, it's an insta-kill. That's why I killed all those guys so fast. Alright. What's up, Mimo? What's up, Cosplay? And Chris Plays, welcome to the stream. What was I just going to do? Alright, we can go ahead and pack-a-punch this weapon. And then I was going to hit the box as well. Let's go ahead and do that. What's up, Marcus? What's this exclamation point coins mean? So when you type exclamation point coins in the chat, the bot will actually tell you how many coins you have. Which is pretty neat. Already 850 likes. You guys are freaking insane. All right, I can't buy that, but the only reason I did hit the box is because I really...
PLZ, subscribe at me.
I really want to try and get the Jack in the Boxes.
And he loved me loudly, crying loudly, crying loudly, crying loudly, crying.
Don't hit the box. I'm hitting the box just because I want to try to get Jack in the Boxes. I'm not going to pick it up if it's not Jack in the Boxes. That's the thing. It's secret. Pistol's okay pack. Yeah, the pistol's pretty good. It's no Mustang and Sally, that's for sure. I think this thing becomes fully automatic when it's pack a punch, doesn't it? If I'm not mistaken, I think it does. Let's see what it looks like. Holy God, that looks so freaking sick. But yeah, can we get a Jack spam, or actually just a Jack in the Box spam, because that's what we really need out of the box right now. How do I sponsor? Wolf, if you do want to become a sponsor, man, there's a link right at the top of the description down below. Please subscribe at me, Hennis. Hennis doesn't love me. No, Chris, it doesn't mean I don't love you, bro. It's just like, I don't really want to make exceptions for stuff. Like, your donations seriously mean a lot. Like, think about it. Even though I'm not subscribed to your channel, like, you're on the top donation leaderboards, dude. Which I think is honestly a little bit more cool. Like, you're literally physically in my stream every single day, regardless of whether or not you're here. Like, your mark has been left. And it honestly means a lot to me, so thank you. Alright, we can't hit that. Go and try. Actually, we should open up the salt mine door, because we're going to have to go down there anyways if we want to end up doing the Easter egg or make our lives a little bit more interesting. Hit the box one more time here. See what we're going to get. What's up, HBK? Welcome to the stream. 15 subscribers away, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, what do we get?
See you later, bro.
We got nothing.
Go pick up my LADT check for these.
Oh, we didn't lose any points though. Okay. Oh, that's right. I forgot about these guys. That's going to end the round, isn't it? Got him. What's up, Tilvia? How you doing today? Why is this box just stuck open? How do we get to the new box locations if it changes positions? What's up, Tony? And what's up, Brandon? Welcome to the stream. I don't think that's ever happened to me before. What's up, Tastiest? And what's up, KG? But yeah, when you guys do subscribe to the channel, turn the crank. Does this actually do something for us? That won't do anything for us as far as the box goes, I know that, but it'll be a step that we'll have to do later. Wait a minute, how are we not doing damage to him? Why is he running away? Hashtag like spike true. If you guys haven't dropped a like in the stream yet, please make sure you do that. I would really appreciate it. What is he dropping? So I don't get what this guy's supposed to be doing. What is he dropping here? Is he just dropping free jolts? Oh yeah, these are just free jolts. Okay, you picked up jolts. Interesting. So he just drops free stuff. That's kind of neat. I don't really want that nuke, actually. Did I miss any donations? See you later, bro. I have to go pick up my lad. Check for these donations. Jimmy Bloody. I will, bro. Thank you very much, dude, for the last $5. And thank you for coming out to the stream. I do appreciate it. Have a good one, man.
Can I talk to you on Discord for just a minute PLCC?
He said, can I talk to you on Discord for just a minute, PU? Actually, I just jumped right there. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I actually physically jumped. Okay. I'm hearing the big guy. Let's see if this thing does a little bit more damage now that it's pack-a-punched. Ow. I'm gonna make myself go down here if I'm not careful. Jesus. Wave completed. Did we kill him? We did. Took him down. Whew. It's getting a little nuts. New subscriber? Hey, appreciate it, Fernando. Yeah, okay, we're 14 subscribers away from hitting 206,300 subscribers. As soon as you guys subscribe, you will see your names appear right here below my face cam, and you'll see that live sub count go up on the left-hand side of the screen. I keep wanting to say in the lower left-hand corner, but it's not there anymore. Let's go buy some more ammo. I subbed. Thank you, Red Bull. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Make this a little bit more interesting for myself. I'm going to wait until we get the boss round, which will either be in the round after this or on round 20. Or hope that one of these guys drops some max ammo. And I can go ahead and fill up my bar that way. What's up, CS? How you doing today, my man? And we'll just use our pistol and our bazooka here. What's up, Fallen Gaming? How you doing today, Wolf? Please, can you and me hang out and play Wizards 101? Possibly, bro. Hennis, read my donation, please. Yes, yes, yes. Chris, I'm sorry, man. Wow, these things are... Holy Jesus, dude. I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? It's a great way to make the zombies explode. Oh, hell. I'm going to take damage. He's going to kill me. Nope. All right, we're good. Never mind. Take it all back. Holy Jesus, man. Ow, that hurt. Damn. How are we not killing this guy? What the frick? These guys are still everywhere. We're about to run out of ammo on this thing, too, and I'm definitely... Yo, Jimmy Bloody came in and said, okay, one more. But yo, Chris, yeah, 100%, dude. I don't know if I can talk to anybody on Discord anytime soon, man. Just because, I don't know. I'm really not a huge fan of just, like... I don't know. I do definitely want to chill on Discord reviewers, 100%. I got to do that more often, but I haven't really done that a whole lot in the past. And I really got to start trying to fix my sleep schedule, too, dude. So I can't hop at Discord right now. I'm not going to do that while I'm streaming. Yo, can we get some max ammo hype in the chat? Let's freaking get it, man. Let's freaking get it. But yeah, hopefully you kind of understand where I'm coming from, brother. And then Jimmy Bloody comes in and says, okay, one more. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the love. But I will, Chris, I will 100% hop in your Discord. If you haven't hopped into my Discord yet, please only 30 seconds at the end of the stream. Possibly, Chris. Yeah, if you're in my Discord at the end of the stream, dude, I'll hop in and say hello to you. If you're in there. What's up, Gabriel? How you doing, man? And thank you, Sasu, for coming in with that sponsor. Thank you very much, Sasu, for the sponsor, man. I do appreciate it. You are my 70th sponsor, I believe. What's up, Chris? How do you pack a punch? It's a complicated process, man. It's... Oh, hell nah, dude. Let's see if we can make our lives a little bit easier here. Oh, how did he freaking hit me from there? Alright, we're just going to go ahead and train these guys all the way around the map. What's up, Christopher? How did that even explode? I don't even know. Max ammo? That was a clutch max ammo, dude. I love that. We should run around and trade them all this way. Training zombies in 2017. Oh, no, it's a respawn? Oh, it's a responsor. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I was going to say, because I thought you were... Did it say... Yeah, but that's the thing, too. I was confused because it didn't say responsor. It just said you're sponsored. So maybe you would cancel it and then you would manually responsor. That might have been it. That would make more sense.
Bloody hell!
Wow, this thing is doing absolutely nothing against him. Holy crap. Jimmy Bloody comes in with a sponsor. That's my 70th sponsor. Guys, we've gotten a whole hell of a lot of sponsors today. Yeah, I did that exactly. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Oh, my lord. What the hell, man? How many hits does this thing take? Just gotta run. Oh, we killed him. Thank God. Did he drop anything? I was gonna say, I don't think he did. Let's go run this way. 71 sponsors. I think we have 70 sponsors now, guys. I think we have 70. Are we all out of ammo? I don't know. We still have ammo on the bottom. We rank 10? Alright, leveling up in zombies here, baby. Freaking killing it. Get those sprinters out of here. These ones with the flies using off of them, they're freaking nasty. What's up, Guadalupe? Just got the notification? Well, that's not good. She got the notification a while ago. They are still spawning, man? What the hell? One round 19, guys. One round away from getting to round 20 here. And beating the 2-box challenge. Very first attempt. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Nice, I'll take that. Kind of want to leave a zombie here at the end of this round. Preferably. I think we still have one of those chainsaw zombies down here, right? Oh, no, he's dead. Okay. Kill you. I think you're the last one now. Yeah, look at him, a little sprint like that. He's so cute. But Jimmy Bloody, thank you very much for that sponsor. Guys, we're also... Got stunned there. What's up, Ice Power? If you go down, you will lose third weapon and the challenge will be over. Will it really? You can't go down at all in the 2-box challenge? I thought you could. What's up, LolK? Good job, bros. Thank you, Toxic. Here we go, guys. GG. Wave completed. We are now on our way to round 20. Wave 20, I guess I should say. And we've officially beaten the 2-box challenge. Can we get a GG in the chat? I'd appreciate it. You failed the first attempt. You bought a wall gun. Yeah, that's true. Xavier Gold. Nah, you're 100% right. I did technically fail the first one.